All right, we are
Hello, we are
live.
live. Okay,
This
is
is,
much better.
I don't think they saw it before because we deleted it.
Yeah.
This is day 20.
Day 20, people.
1 day left.
Yep. And I'm just pulling up my notes, but can fasting help emotional eating? Are you an emotional eater?
She's already stepping on my lines.
I know. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. I am not going to do that today.
Can fasting help you break the cycle using food for emotional comfort?
Yeah.
Can it?
Can it?
Can you differentiate between physical or emotional hunger? And how do you identify emotional eating triggers?
Do you know? Does anybody know?
We're going to get to that. We're going to fill you in. But first, Glenda, how did you do today?
I did really good today. Today was probably the best day of all the days.
Only got 1 day left. I guess it's a good time to be strong.
No, it is a good time because sometimes like towards the end, people tend to like not end strong. But I was praying. I was asking God, please help me finish strong. And He's answering my prayers. And I actually woke up this morning and I was feeling hungry. I'm not gonna lie, I felt hungry throughout the day, but I said I was not gonna think about it. I just wanted to keep myself busy, but not busy with stuff that no need to, like with nonsense, but like productive. I decided to stay productive. So we got up and we did our prayer this morning and we did our thing. And then after we were done, we got immediately did work, right?
Yep.
So I had my coffee and I was feeling hungry, but I was like, I'm not going to eat yet. I'm going to put it off. I wanted to have soup this morning, like to have something warm. But because I didn't have that, then I pushed it off until I was ready to have something cold, which I did have a smoothie, but I didn't pack it. I had the smoothie. And then after that, I was feeling a little bit tired through the day because we were up so early. And I didn't want to, we didn't have soup, or we had some cans of soup, but I didn't want to have that soup. I've been spoiled with the whole food soup. And so I decided,
which is what we got for
I was
dinner.
feeling hungry and I didn't have, and I had been doing like three, things like 3 types of food throughout the day, like a smoothie, a soup, like 2 soups and a smoothie. And today I decided to have the smoothie and I didn't have my soup until like what would have been dinner. And that was it. And then when I got home around 6-ish, I had a chocolate milk and
I'm having some chocolate almond milk right now.
And I'm going to have probably, what time is it? It's 7:48. I'm probably going to have my magnesium drink tonight. And that was it. And I have struggled with a little bit of hunger, but not so much. But I did really good. I was mindful that even though I was feeling a little bit hungry, I'm not going to starve. I don't need to let my brain think I'm going to starve. No, it's okay to be a little bit hungry.
So my day, thanks for asking.
Yeah. How's your day, Brett?
Thank you. Let's see if I can get through. I was hungry today, and I think I had a little bit of what she was saying. It's towards the end, and I relaxed a little, I think. So I was hungry when I got up right after my coffee. I basically immediately made my protein smoothie, which a lot of times I haven't been having until dinner time. So I had my protein fruit smoothie. I was even hungry after that for a snack before lunch. I had a couple tablespoons of peanut butter, creamy peanut butter, not chunky at all. And then for lunch, I ate an entire soup that we had from Whole Foods. So I've been pretty hungry today. It was a little tough. I think I was feeling lax, like one more day, which is it's not great, but still accomplishing what we wanted with this fast, spending more time confronting emotions, praying about direction. And then for tonight, I had another big soup from Whole Foods. I had a little more chunks than I normally would in it. I probably would have gone for more broth. So again, I think I was relaxing a little bit. But tonight I've started my like kind of last drink before bed, which is my chocolate almond milk. So I'm having my chocolate almond milk. And that should be it for tonight. One more day,
I lost another pound.
She lost another pound.
So I went down to 173, which is good. And my goal after now that I'm done with this fast is to decrease the amount of food that I eat, but by sight. I am not planning to count it, but I know how much I was filling my plate with food. My goal after this after this fast is to be mindful about my portions.
All right. So we are going to get to the emotional eating in a second, but since you mentioned the weight, I'm going to recap because this channel is for our mindful eating journey. I had been doing calorie counting for 5 months. I lost 25 pounds in 5 months. So instead of my calorie counting, I was supposed to lose about 2 pounds a week, but you hit different plateaus at times. And so it took me, I was only losing about 5 pounds a month average. So I've lost 5 pounds a month for 5 months straight, 25 pounds down. However, for you mindful eaters, for you calorie counters, for people who are looking to lose weight, this 3-week fast of liquids and no solid food, I've lost another 10 pounds in 3 weeks. So that's normally like 2 months worth of weight loss in 3 weeks. So I'm hoping once we break the fast, I'll just keep maintaining my calorie counting and I'll be able to keep this weight off as well. Because I'm lower than where I thought I was going to be, which is great. And now I feel like I want to go even lower because I've been experiencing a lot of pain relief at this new lower weight. So I suffer from back pain, knee pain, neck pain, different kinds of pain. I do have like herniated disc in my neck, herniated disc in my lower back from car accidents and other stuff, wear and tear on the body. And when I'm carrying a bit more weight, like 25 to 35 more pounds, these things are very prevalent. And I'm needing constant massages, constant adjustments, different kinds of things. Well, I'm still experiencing a little bit here and there, but it is highly decreased. I mean, she knows I'm typically bugging her for a massage a week, and I have not been. So, just I'm experiencing a lot less. So another benefit of this weight loss and of the fasting, I think, has been decreased body pain, and it could be from decreased inflammation in the body and other stuff.
Very good point. Yeah.
So to recap the highlights of this fast, we've been overcoming food addiction.
Yep.
Fighting that. It's really taught me a lot more than I thought. I thought I had my food under control with the calorie counting. Oh, I guess I just gave a symbol for thumbs up. And on top of that, I've learned that I can do so much more than I thought. So yeah, thumbs up for that.
Thumbs up. Give us a like.
It didn't want to do that again. I don't know. That's weird.
There it is.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Give us a like. I don't know if you can see it on your end.
This has been physical and spiritual challenge. Yeah. So success there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that. So we didn't start originally for the food addiction. We started because we're spiritual, just to get
challenging ourselves,
just to receive strength, courage, and clarity into some personal things. And so because we have been overcoming for some time now, we decided to document this, and we think it would be very beneficial for the mindful eating community for us to share how we have been able to overcome our own food addiction. And so, yeah.
Kind of along the lines of overcoming the food addiction, but just developing self-control.
Yes.
A huge part of overcoming your food addiction is developing self-control. And when you develop that fruit of the spirit, that self-control, it helps in so many other areas of life too. So we've been, I think, more productive together as a team. There's just, we've had more self-control over other distractions too, I think. So it's been really good. And so all of these are kind of tied together, but purposeful living, like putting aside the distractions with this fast.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Why do you want to overcome food addiction? I wanted to explain that. Why? That's
for me. So I was definitely you know, drowning my emotions in food, not paying attention to my emotions with food. Um, I, I realized from this fast that even the 2 times I've lost weight with calorie counting, I still hadn't dealt with my emotions in a healthy way, and I think that's why I gained the weight back in between. So, went through some personal struggles with my father's health before he passed, and 2 other family members that I was helping that also passed 2 years in a row. This was a 2-year stretch. I gained back 25 of the 35 pounds I had lost from emotional eating without really dealing with my emotions. Um, so it would, I was turning to food for everything, just for the instant gratification feelings that food produces, like when you eat chocolate or anything else, the chemicals are released. So I was just constantly thinking about food. What kind of food am I going to get that's going to taste good? It's going to make me feel better. I love roast beef subs with mayonnaise and cheese or things like that, or donuts or cookies, or just, and I was just going constantly nuts for everything, and that's how I gained the weight back very quickly. And so even with the calorie counting, I was still including all of those types of foods, but on smaller portions and calorie counting. Now after the fast, I realized I don't have to give in to those things, and I can stop and process my emotions, spend some time with God in prayer and things, rather than turning to food even when I'm calorie counting. So there's been, this is day 20. I'm going 21 days without cookies, without ice creams, without roast beef and cheese, without chocolate. But I'm just saying, all of the things that I was turning to every single day that I thought I needed to have at least something every day. I thought I needed to have at least 100, 200 calories of chocolate every day, at least 100, 200 calories of, cookies or ice cream every day. Like, I thought I had to have meat every day, just all these things. And I've gone 21 days on, well, it will be after tomorrow, on soup and juice and smoothie, like none of that. So I didn't think I was going to be able to do the 21-day fast, even when I started with her. I had doubts. Yeah. So part of this mental health is proving to myself that things I thought were impossible are possible.
Amen to that, brother.
Would you like to say something?
Yes. If you watch yesterday's
payback,
I almost don't want you to watch it because I'm so embarrassed. I've been asking God to forgive me.
She interrupted me like that.
Don't
just did.
Really like
she talked over me like
in that direction, in that way. I ignored him. I didn't hear him. I was just so self-involved in what I was explaining. I was so passionate that I really thought I was alone. When you look at it, it's like, does she even know he's there? So I'm sorry about that. But I wanted to share my 2 cents about the addiction and why I wanted to overcome food addiction, because you bring up really good points that many people can relate, but maybe there are people that can relate with why I wanted to overcome food addiction. I've yo-yo dieted ever since I had my daughter. Like, after I became pregnant and I gained weight, my highest weight during my pregnancy was 201 pounds, but that wasn't my highest weight. I had gotten up to like 215, and now I'm down today to 173. And so, over the years, I kept doing this and this and this, but I was going after weight loss for the wrong reason. It was all for vanity. And what would happen is, because it was for vanity, and I'm realizing this as you're speaking, actually, even though it was all for vanity, what would happen is, because I didn't address the emotion, I would lose the weight. And then, because I didn't address the emotion, I would gain the weight back. I would go back to emotional eating. And so now that we are addressing the emotion, that's what makes it sustainable.
I've seen you binge eat, and that's from emotional eating.
Yeah.
No other reason.
Exactly.
Explanation.
So now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good and wanting to look aesthetically pleasing, but that for me personally, that's not my why, because that why is not going to keep me there. I have to address the underlying issues, traumas that I have, and then my why is for me to be able, like Brett said, to fulfill my purpose. And fulfill what God has called me to do. And so what the binge did, because I didn't address the emotional, I would eat all the food and all the emotion, and then I was numbed, and then I wasn't doing anything, and instead I was, eating, pity partying my life because of all the trauma that I had gone through and all that stuff.
So we are going to tell you how fasting can help you manage emotional eating.
Yes.
And the first thing that how it does is it helps you create like a structured eating pattern.
Yeah.
So you have to separate your healthy eating from the emotional triggers.
Right.
So the goal is to increase mindfulness. So again, I'm going to start with my calorie counting example. So instead of just eating because I feel like eating, I'm starting with a budget for the day. And so my personal strategy is I like to feel full at night going to bed. I hate previously when I've been on diets where it's like, no, stop eating early, do intermittent fasting, don't eat after 6. And I'm dying from 6 till midnight, like with hunger pains, and I hate that. And I didn't like it at all. So for me, calorie counting, I do the opposite. I get up in the morning and I only have coffee and no breakfast. And then I can go all the way to like lunchtime, but I have a light lunch. And then I can go all the way to dinner time, and then I have a ton of calories. And so I've thought this out, and I'm mindful. And so during the day, I am feeling a little hungry, but I'm making choices, mindfulness to say, I'm not just going to eat. I can wait, and I'm going to have my calories later. And that's worked for me. How about you? How do you separate your emotional triggers from your structured eating?
My emotional trigger. I mean, I addressed many of my emotions to the point, like I knew that nighttime was a time where my mind would go to thinking about my day, and that's where I would generally do my emotional eating. So unlike bread, I had to combat that by setting myself a boundary to not eat after 5. Besides the fact that I don't like to go to bed full, I don't like, because I feel like you go to bed full and you have all that undigested food there, and you.
I love that. That's what puts me to sleep.
Yeah, I can't.
No,
so
she has a different gut than I have.
So and then I noticed on days that I didn't eat late at night, and I woke up earlier. I woke up in the morning less tired. It was easier to wake up and get out of bed. I didn't feel so.
I can be a little sluggish in the morning, so I get that.
I determined that like medicine, food was like medicine. It was like it would make me drowsy. So I decided, that's not for me. So I combat that emotional eating, knowing like that at night is when all the thoughts want to come into my mind, because you're at home, you're resting, you're thinking about your day, and I'm like, I am not going to.
Boundary.
If I have a situation, then I will talk to Brett. I will pray about it.
Yeah.
I will take that time to plan for the next day, maybe what I could have done better, and things like that, but not to wallow in the pittiness of whatever mistakes I made through the day. Like yesterday after our live, I could have, if I wouldn't have been fasting, I probably would have been eating, feeling regretful of how I behaved during my life. Seriously, that's how bad. Like I was.
Forgiven.
I know I'm forgiven, but it was very hard. Like I think I asked you for forgiveness, for you to forgive me. I don't know how many times at night. So, and I'm glad that I was fasting during that time. And,
So, sorry to cut you off. Sorry, not sorry, because yes. So we're talking about how can it help break the emotional eating? So, yes, we're on a fast from food right now, but basically we've just said that normally in our typical mindful eating journey, she's basically cutting off eating at after 5 o'clock. So that's kind of fasting. She's eliminating emotional eating. And I'm waking up kind of fasting. I'm eliminating the emotional eating of having breakfast, everything, because I know I'm going to burn through my calories or whatever else. So that mindfulness helps you break emotional eating. So with this fast, if you're able to go on a complete fast from food and drinks, you have your hand up. We'll get to you eventually. Just hold your thought. then you can break the cycle. Go ahead. We're breaking the cycle of emotional
I
triggers.
wanted to say that for the people that might say, but you're intermittent fasting. No, I'm not intermittent fasting. And this is why. I do not want to tell my brain that I have to intermittent fast because that's setting rules and restrictions. What I am saying is I'm not eating after 5 because I don't like to eat at night. I am going to eat in the morning when I'm hungry.
It's different when you've set your own boundary that is good for you.
Right.
You determined it because you like the way it makes you
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
That's what she's done, rather than a rule like intermittent
Yes.
fasting, like you can't eat
Right.
between these
So
times.
we are technically intermittent fasting, but it happened naturally. We were just mindful about what we wanted to keep, and then everything else.
Yeah, and I'm not
out.
sure if mine is actual intermittent fasting. Is when I get up in the morning, I am having a coffee that has almond milk, creamer, stevia. So I'm having my coffee in the morning, and
so you're not intermittent fasting, but you are losing weight.
Oh yeah, I lost the weight because of the calorie deficit. And sometimes I'll have even breakfast or snacks, but I've learned how to make like a less than 200 calorie breakfast between egg whites and Velveeta and keto toast and things like that. So so even if if I decide I'm so hungry I'm gonna have breakfast, I calorie portion it and I have an even smaller lunch and save my calories for dinner, or I go to the gym for an extra calories. Okay, so let's differentiate between physical and emotional hunger. So, Glenda, what's the first differentiator between physical and emotional hunger?
It's like the onset of when you get it. Emotional hunger comes on suddenly. Well, physical hunger develops gradually. Like what I experienced today was physical hunger.
Yeah.
It was gradually. I was feeling hungry, but I know I could wait. But when I did have the stumble early on in the fast, it came suddenly. I opened the fridge.
So suddenly it knocked you.
Yeah, exactly. And I just went for it. So that is the onset.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. I don't remember which one of your diets you were on, where you had told me once, like, if your stomach's not gurgling, you're not actually hungry yet. Like it's all almost like emotional hunger until your body starts grumbling, like, "Oh, I need food."
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing.
True.
So,
Yeah.
So I just remembered that.
Probably numbers 2.
Emotional hunger often involves cravings for specific comfort foods, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Whereas physical hunger can be satisfied with a variety of foods. So this definitely hits home because, again, before this fast, I was constantly just like, what am I craving today? What am I craving? I was always feeding my cravings. Whereas on this fast, it was like, I never crave soup. I never eat soup. But this soup has been nourishing for me, and so it's been completely satisfying, and helped me live through this fast on sometimes just broth. Just the flavor in a broth was enough to satisfy, and that liquid fills your belly, and you're like, this is crazy. So definitely this is huge for me. I'm learning too, guys, that the difference between emotional and physical hunger.
So the next one is satisfaction. Emotional hunger isn't satisfied once you're full and maybe to overeating. Well, physical hunger stops when you're full. And I have been developing through intuitive eating, and that's why I like intuitive eating.
Yeah,
because I want to say I used to eat so much that I felt like my stomach was gonna explode, and I could keep eating and eating and eating.
This reminds me of how many different times of the year I would make an excuse that I needed to have the buffet of everything I wanted. I'm going to use Super Bowl, for example. Glenda's seen me on a Super Bowl, even when I was a calorie counter, say, I'm breaking it this day. And I brought in like a dozen donuts here, and I brought in a full pizza here, and I brought in bags of chips here. And I mean, I had food up there. It was all emotional cravings. And no matter how much of all that food I ate, I was still not satisfied, right? I would still be going for more food, and it was crazy. So totally, this is speaking to me. I hope it's helping you guys. What's the last one, Glenda?
Emotional triggers. Emotional hunger is linked to specific emotions like stress or boredom, whereas physical hunger is
biological, or loneliness, or tired, or angry, or stressed, or all of. I was eating for every emotion.
Yeah. And we have, before we were fasting, there were moments where we were being mindful about what we were eating, and we would get up to go to the fridge, like to see what's in there. Like we were bored, even though we had a ton of things to do. Why do we so that's when it's an emotional trigger.
Yep.
It is boredom because maybe you're stressed or whatever, or you don't want to do the tasks that
I just had
a
fresh revelation right now that we also do a lot of mindless eating out of habits and patterns.
Yes.
You go to the movies, you need to have a giant bucket of popcorn and candy. Why? Because ever since you were a little kid, you gone to the movies and that's what you did. Mm-hmm. You sit in front of the TV at night at home, you've always had this bowl of snacks, so you go, we've conditioned ourselves. Mm-hmm. Those are triggers. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to sit in a movie, we've had to tell ourselves, hey, we're going to the movies tonight and we're not going to do this. And we've still sometimes gotten there and there's the smell and there's the popcorn. Right. So that's crazy that we've just conditioned ourselves. Like, I'm in this situation, I need to eat.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
All right. So how do we identify our emotional triggers? What kind of strategies do we have? Mm-hmm. Hint, hint, there's a free resource linked below.
And that's number 1. Keep a food and mood journal. And our journal is to track what you eat, when you eat it, how you feel before and after eating it, to identify patterns and break them. So, that's number 1.
Number 2, I have never used this one, Glenda. So I really like this. Use a hunger scale. Rate your hunger from 1 to 10 to distinguish between physical and emotional hunger. So typically the emotional hunger, you're not actually feeling hungry. You're craving something. You're craving flavors and tastes and things that you want, but it's not your stomach growling hungry. I can say that I've told Glenda, towards the end of my calorie counting, after I've lost a bunch of weight, I used to want desserts or things at night, and my body started to crave healthier options. So it wasn't emotional eating. That point it was hunger, and I was like, no, my body would prefer a nice protein smoothie instead of a bowl of ice cream or something like that. So interesting.
Number 3, recognize emotional cues. Notice if you eat in response to stress, which we talked about it earlier, boredom, or specific emotions like sadness or happiness. And you just want to recognize it, and how a strategy is to talk to somebody about it. That's why we want to create a community.
Can I be honest? When we have a fight, I want to go emotionally eat. I'm stressed or whatever. Yeah. How many times have you guys seen a movie, a rom-com or whatever? The woman has a bad experience and she's pulling out the ice cream and the chocolate syrup and doing that as stress eating or emotional, So it's totally there. We got to recognize those emotional cues.
When we do in some of those situations, for us, we've said this before, we'll send the other to the room to pray. So when you used to tell your kids you're grounded. Yeah. We will tell each other, you need to go pray. Go pray. And
we have our other channel at Influence for Purpose where we talk about, spiritual things like that. But I can tell you that there are times when we've had fights, and because I went and prayed and I was so convinced I was right about the fight, but after praying, I felt like God told me go apologize and go do the dishes on top of it. And it fixed everything. So rather than my pride of winning the fight, God fixed it by giving me that advice. So anyway, happy wife, happy life.
See what I have to deal with? Be confessed. Yeah. It's on video. Number 4, identify situational triggers, which you were talking about earlier, the habit.
This is social settings.
Social settings, specific people, events that prompt emotional eating. My gosh.
We've particularly said this time of year for this fast is good because it sets us up for success before Halloween candy, before Thanksgiving, before Christmas, before New Year's, all of these social settings where people are trying to, misery loves company. And if you're turning down all the sweets and everybody else was, come on, have some more cake, have some more of this. Maybe they want to go try to deal with a New Year's resolution of losing the weight, but we're going to be the people that don't put it on in the first place.
They don't do it intentionally, but people who have no boundaries want no one else to have boundaries. So you know
those people.
I'm
telling them they know those people.
You know those people. And you know what? We are going to be people that is going to set boundaries for ourselves, and we are going to enjoy them and be so loving life because of it, that we're going to inspire and influence
Respect your own boundaries, respect yourself, and then they'll and in turn respect it. And they may even hop over to your side and say, teach me what you're doing, because I want that too.
That's what happened here. I mean, I didn't teach Brett what he needed to do as far as how to lose weight.
But she demonstrated.
But what he did do was he set his own boundary. He began to realize that he needed to do something about his eating, and he found what works for him.
Yeah, I started with the calorie counting, but we did a Bible study with our group that talked about the emotional well-being of a person, and I just realized I had an epiphany of all the emotions that I wasn't dealing with, and I was turning to food.
And it's not something that I didn't bring up 1,000 times, but it was when I decided to say to him, because he eats at night, and at night is when we would gather, watch a movie, eat, and and I said, you know what, Brett, this is not good for me. I cannot do this. I'm going to have to separate myself from you and go to the room while you sit here and you stuff your face.
While I'm watching football.
Watch football. So he used to do it without calorie tracking. And then he realized, you know what, that's not good for me. I'm going to set my own boundary. So he decided to set a boundary that works for him while I set my. But I began setting my own boundary, and I had to separate myself from him for a time. Now we can sit here. We've been sitting here and we're okay. He's having his chocolate milk with whatever. And I am just, I'm done eating. I'm done having any, I had my earlier milk or whatever, but I'm done, and it's okay. And if we were eating, before we started the fast, he would sit here and eat something. And I'm like, he's like, isn't this going to bother you? No, because I've already developed the fruit of self-control. I still have a long way to go. I mean, I'm not perfect. We all do. But, I've developed to an extent that I can be here. Same thing with people who drink. Sometimes they cannot be around. Some can never be around.
We've developed the mindset that this is not dieting. This is not restriction. This is our lifestyle.
Right.
So just because, like she said the other night, she gave in and had the chocolate for a little bit, that was just a 1 hour setback.
Yeah.
She still did 21 days of fasting besides 1 hour of chocolate. You know what I mean? So we don't allow these things to derail us.
Right.
If I go over my calories for a day, it doesn't derail me. It may delay my progress a little bit, but not much if I'm doing it consistently. So this is this is not a fad for us. This is a consistent lifestyle, because we've found what works for us, that makes us feel good mentally, makes us feel good physically, and is sustainable because we're eating what we want to eat. We're not restricting ourselves from those things.
Right. So we just thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
We've gone again a little bit longer, but we hope that this was valuable for you, and that you can get some nuggets from this, and to be able to apply it to your own life.
If you got some value, please
give it a thumbs up, and
it's not doing it.
And make sure that if you're not subscribed, that you do. Tomorrow is our last day. I'm gonna miss hanging out daily here.
We're gonna come back with other things.
Come back. Our goal is
we got some challenges.
Weekly, but we're gonna take a week off because we are flying, and then we're gonna come back and we are gonna be meeting weekly. But we just never know what time, so make sure you click the notification bell so you are notified in case you're able to join. If not, you'll see it notified and you can catch up with it later. Share it with someone who you think might benefit from this content, that may be dieting, and you're like, hey, you should watch them. You might want to start a mindful eating journey. And if you want to start the mindful eating journey,
diets fail, mindful eating works.
Exactly. Do start the journal. Let us know if you do. Request the email, and we'll send you the free journal. And then you can join the Facebook group so that we can interact on a daily basis. Follow us on Instagram. We do more stories there, and then
sometimes post recipe ideas or other things.
Sometimes post recipe ideas for what we eat and different things. So, thank you for hanging out with us Saturday night. Make sure you go to church tomorrow. Follow us at Influence for Purpose. Join us at 7 in the morning for the prayer. If you're up, if not, follow and pray along with us whenever you catch it. And let's say a quick prayer right now before we go.
God, we're just so grateful for anyone who sees this that may be struggling with their relationship with food. We just pray that they are set free from negative mindset, from limiting beliefs, from emotional triggers, from anything else that's getting in the way of them having a healthy relationship with food, from any addiction they may have. We're just believing. We come alongside them and we pray for them, that they feel that freedom and that joy when it comes to their mental health, their physical health, their relationship with food.
Yes.
And we love you, Lord. In your name, Jesus. Amen. Bye. Have a great night.